I'm George Harnick. I'm the coordinator for the Sports Skills program, as well as the undergraduate coordinator for the Department of Kinesiology, Michigan State University.
All right, and what is the name of this Kinesiology 465 program?
The KIN 465 program is the Sports Skills program, and it's the lab component to the KIN 465 Adapted Physical Activity class, which is a required class for most students in the Department of Kinesiology.
Okay.
And basically what it entails is taking people from the community. They charge a small fee, very small fee, that's why it's become so popular actually. And we use that in order to fund the program. And kinesiology students that are undergraduates, and they come through, take the course, and they have to coach an athlete that has a disability one-on-one. And typically that's in either a swimming setting or in a gym type setting where they might play basketball or hockey or whatever it might be. Something that you could do in a gym. And it's become a developmentally large program over time. Started about 30 years ago, and it's grown into what you find today.
And they get to choose if they want to be in the pool-based or the sports skill-based?
Yes, they do. We have the 3 sections. There's 2 swimming sections and 1 gym section, and they can choose. They can go through all 3. They can take just 1, or they can take 2, and they pretty much choose what they like to do. And they also choose what their skill sets might be that they might want to learn during the course of that semester.
Well, how would you describe a typical hour in the program? Do you warm up and then go into exercise? Or...
Yep. So the first 15 minutes or so is meet and greet, get ready, get changed if you need to. And the first 5 to 10 minutes is a warm up. Then there are about 30 to 35 minutes of coaching, actual coaching. So there'd be a one-on-one setting, sometimes 2 coaches, 1 athlete. And they work on specific objectives. So over the course of the first 4 weeks, students have to assess their athlete, and then they have to figure out where they stand in certain regards. So socially, communication-wise, cognitively, physically, where are they at? And then they have to come up with objectives to try to meet over the course of those semesters. So during that 30 to 35 minutes, that's when they're trying to work on those objectives. And then there's a cool down. It really depends on the section. The swimming ones, you kind of do your warm-ups and cool-downs separately. Mm-hmm. In the gym section, they do a warm-up all together and then cool-down separately after that. The warm-up at the beginning is also relative to formulating some cohesiveness as a program and as a team. You know, make them feel as though they're part of something larger than themselves, mm-hmm. which is a very important aspect of motivation in sport as well.
Who comes to this program?
As far as
an athlete.
As an athlete?
Yeah. Just
about anybody that fits between the age ranges of 6 and however old you want to be. Okay. Currently, right now, our oldest is 67. And you have to have a disability if you're going to be a participant. If you're a coach, obviously, you're going to be a student in KIN 465. But if you're an athlete, then you would have to have a disability of some form. So we do have athletes that just have ADHD and a learning disability or something like that, all the way up to severe and multiple disabilities that are comorbid with each other, such as autism and cerebral palsy.
Be male or female?
Male or female, does not matter. We usually have about a good 50-50 split. Mm-hmm. It tends to be students, usually less males than, more females than males as far as students, so we usually have to make some interesting arrangements.
Yeah.
But it's never outside the scope of what we can accomplish and get done.
What do you guys teach your coaches in class to properly coach their athlete?
Sure. It always starts with safety. Safety's always going to be number 1. So the first thing we always cover is the emergency action plan. What do we do if something were to happen, right? And we follow that up with safety quizzes, make sure everybody knows what the protocols are. So that's the number 1 thing. How do we stay safe? If we stay safe and nobody learns anything, I'll take that much over vice versa. So we start with safety, and then we move into, well, how do we communicate with them? So they learn in the lecture, they learn respect, right? What does it mean to be respectful to somebody who has a disability? And we also learn about various communication methods, like picture exchange communication system or certain signs. We discuss sign language. We might also discuss things like teaching cues. How do we express what we want to teach them in a format that'd be easily relatable? So we do several cues activities, and they take 3.5 weeks of just orientation and getting them oriented to what in the world they're going to be getting into, mm-hmm. and how do we communicate with them. And then from there it goes into watch what we do, right? If we communicate with them in a certain way, follow suit, right? And I tell them to watch us, meaning us, myself, as well as the teaching assistants that I have. How do we communicate with the athletes? Do we josh around with them? You know, do you have an athlete, we josh around with them. You can probably kid around with them as well, you know, within professional reason. But others, we don't do that at all with. And so we tell them to follow suit, right? So interact with them just as you normally would, be very professional, and then try to be personable as well. Because an environment that's not personable is not a very effective one either. So those are the main meat of the items that we talk about at the beginning. And then it's a learning process from there. I do know 90% of the athletes that come around. Sometimes we'll have somebody that's brand new, but I already know how those interactions will go, and I can describe that to them when we match them up. They have the students come and ask me, who is this person? Tell me some things about them, and I can give them very personal things too, and telling them this is what's going to work for this particular athlete.
And how can the parents of these athletes enroll their child?
It's all word of mouth. We don't advertise, because if we did, we'd have to turn away more than we do now. But it's word of mouth. Parents get the applications, and then they send it in as soon as they get it. And it's first come, first serve, so we take the ones that come in first and then match them up based off from what they want to do and the skill sets of our coaches. So that's their opportunity to send it in via mail or fax or through email even, and then get signed up from there.